This video is to describe how we make the business cards. So just first of all, before I begin, I just want to show you this. This is kind of what I'm aiming at. So I'm going to make a business card that looks something like this. And I'm going to use the graphic that we made a couple of weeks ago. This is laid out so the business cards are underneath each other, and that just makes it easier to sort of view them together and see what would happen when you kind of turn them over. So we want to make sure that we are creating business cards in this way and not in this way, which would make it kind of really difficult to see. I would have to then scroll over, and then to see what's underneath this one I need to scroll over here. So we want to keep them underneath each other, and we do that right from the start. So I'm going to say File, New Document, and I'm going to untick Facing Pages. Now what I want to do is set up a template. I've already got one in here that I made earlier, business card, and that's going to give me the right shape, the right width and height and orientation for a business card. So what you need to do is say File, New Document. You put in the correct width. Now most business cards are fairly similar size. An average one is 84 millimeters and 55 millimeters height, and the orientation is really up to you. You could try portrait or landscape. There's not much point me adding anything in at the moment, because although I want to make this a template, it won't remember all of this. So I'm just going to say to it, Custom. I'm using the drop down menu, and I'm going to give it a name. So I'll just call this one Business Card 2 this time, and say OK. Actually, I'm going to say Add. Say OK. So there you can see I've got my Business Card 2. Now on top of that, so I'm just going to shrink this down. So let's say I'm using that template I've made now. I can just simply use this drop-down menu and go to my business card shape. Okay, but you can do it straight after you've created the template. So you can go straight into this. Tell it the number of pages, which is 2. Of course, untick Facing Pages. We don't need columns at the moment. Margins, well, this margin is a little bit big for me. That's for a business card. If we just shrink that down a margin this kind of big is a little bit intense. I just want to make sure that important stuff doesn't go beyond this sort of boundary. Okay, so I'm going to put in, you see it always goes back to default, so I'm always having to do this again, but I don't need to change the size. So I'm going to put in a margin of 5 millimeter, and of course I only have to put it in once because it's locked together with all of the other areas. And I'm going to put in a 3 millimeter blade. So blades are on average 3 to 5 millimeters. And I'm going to say OK. If you forget to adjust your margin or your bleed, you can always adjust it using these drop-down menus. So Layout, Margins and Columns, and that will allow me to change the margin. So I'm just going to put that to 5. And then if I wanted to change the bleed, I would do that here, File, Document Setup, and here I can change the bleed. But that's fine. I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to start designing. I'm going to open up my color swatches. And as you've seen, we've got minimal colors here. I'm interested in the paper color, and what I'm going to do for this document is, so I'm going to use a rectangle tool to draw a rectangle from one end of the bleed to the other corner. I need to make sure that I'm filling it rather than stroking it. Okay. And then I'm going to make that fill paper color, and that's for the complete avoidance of doubt. My printer knows I want white all the way out. Okay, so that's why I'm using the paper color. So I'm just going to copy this, and then I'm going to go down to the reverse of my card, page 2. And I'm just going to say paste in place, and then I'm going to change this color so I have a dark color in the back. Before I do, I'm just going to begin to organize my layers. So I'm going to call this layer graphics. I'm just getting the habit of organizing and naming and maintaining your layers. It will help you in the end. And I want to create a new color for this rectangle. Now, I did say use the new color symbol down here, the new swatch symbol, to get your new color. But if you're not in a color, you won't be able to do that. You can see if I've colored something, then I can create a new swatch of the same color. Then I can go in and make changes. You can instantly make, let's go back to paper. You can instantly make a new swatch out of it by just simply using the flyout menu, new color swatch. And then I have suggested that you create a grey, dark grey, rather than a pure black. So I'm going to make that, just follow my guidance on the handout. So it's a similar sort of colour. Okay, you can see that's a dark grey. And I've stored it down here, and I will need it later, so that's really useful. Now I'm going to bring in my graphic. And just be careful you don't select something before you do this, otherwise your graphic will take over that frame. I'm just going to make sure I've deselected and say File, Place. This is a graphic I made a couple of weeks ago. I'll show you how to save it the right size and to make changes, and what file format to use in a separate video. So just going to decide how I want this to work, and I just want to show part of my graphic. Something like that will do, and then I'm going to put my name up here. Now if you're seeing your graphic looking really rough like this, it's because of how you're viewing it. You can up the viewing performance, the display performance, to high quality, and you'll see what it's really going to look like. You can also get a little preview either by going to preview, screen mode preview, or you can simply click this little button here and you'll get a preview of how it's going to look. But I can't edit in this mode, so I need to go back to normal mode in order to edit. Now the eagle eyes out there might have noticed I'm actually working on the back of my card here and really want this graphic on the front. So I'm just going to cut it and go back and paste it where it needs to be, paste in place. And then I'm going to place the graphic that I prepared on the back. File, place. And I've got this little pink circle. Again, I'm going to decide how I want that to be, whether I want it to be a repeat or whether I want to try something different, something like that. Just move that in. Or whether I want to change the scale of it and so on. Let's have it like this time. So now I'm going to lock the graphics, and I've prepared another layer for text, and move on to the next video for laying out the text.